Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is December the 12th, 2023. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Had another good day at the work. Nothing too crazy. It feels like we're still busy, but I can kind of tell that like we're not as busy as like weeks prior, so that's good. Maybe I hope. Hopefully, no, blow ups or anything wild at work. Fingers crossed. Knock on wood. But yeah, let's do a couple of food corners because I got a couple of food things to regale you with that I've been shoving into my gullet. Let's see. Yesterday, I decided to have some lasagna. Now, this is like kind of like a single serve thing. I believe the brand is called Rana. Overall, pretty good brand. I've talked about them before earlier in the year. I think they made like this lobster pasta that was really fucking yummy. I'll probably get that again sometime soon. Maybe like top of next year. I don't know. But the other day I got lasagna, like a single serve situation. You can microwave it 4 minutes, or you could put it in the oven for 15. I chose the oven and it worked out. It was good. I don't know if you're, familiar with like the TV dinner kind of things or what have you, but sometimes it's actually bad to do it in the oven. Like sometimes it's like they tell you a time, but like it's conditioned to like maybe there's a certain kind of oven. I don't fucking know, but like you follow the instructions to the letter and that shit is like burnt, or you try to avoid that and then it's just under and it's very hard to get it. And sometimes it's just like you gotta just say, you know what, it's just better to pop this said item into the microwave. Luckily for this lasagna piece, it worked out perfect and it was very yummy. Let's see, I had a nice little piece of bread with it, one of those like Bolgolio buns that I still don't know how to pronounce, and then just some normal bread. So we really bread it up with a side salad, and yeah, it was really good. Let's see. And then today we had a pizza party at work. So that was yummy. It was Marco's Pizza. I got a pepperoni pizza slice. I got a cheese pizza slice, and I got a like meatwork situation. And then there's little bits of cheese bread that we got, a couple of little rinky dink wings, and I don't know. I felt weird asking for another plate to get a salad thing, but there's plenty of salad, and I should have just did that. So instead, I got like this little like few pieces of salad, like lettuce and some stuff. I put it in like the corner of my plate, and I didn't even. I'm like, where am I gonna put the dressing? It's gonna go everywhere. It's gonna make a mess. So I just didn't do that. I don't know. I almost like used it as like lettuce from the pizza. It was really weird, but it was fine. It was good. I appreciate another treat from work. So yay that. So yeah, that more or less catches us up. We're caught up with the Joneses. That is my life. Let me go ahead and do my startup, and we'll get into some news. Hoo wee. I said, goddamn. All right. Our first story comes from Time, like the magazine. U.S. fighter jet crashes in sea off South Korea. Man, another one down. An American F-16 fighter jet crashed into the Yellow Sea off the southwestern coast of Southern Korea during a training exercise on Monday. The crash was reported by South Korea's news agency Yonhap. It comes as a separate recovery efforts remain underway after another U.S. aircraft crashed off of Japan's coast last month. The Osprey we mentioned, if I'm not mistaken. The unidentified F-16 pilot ejected from the aircraft before the crash and was recovered by South Korean maritime forces, awake and in stable condition. So that's good news. Let me read a little bit further here. According to the U.S. military, the pilot is being returned to Kusan Air Base in South Korea, where he will receive further evaluation. Though authorities said that neither his name nor details about his condition would be released. So yeah, I mean, crazy that, this is another situation where it's like a training exercise gone wrong. But I mean, we've talked about that, in a very international sense with our military. That shit's just gonna fucking happen. Hopefully, I'm covering less of that in the future. But hey, if one goes down, I gotta talk about it. I gotta go up. So yeah, there's that. Let's go ahead and move along. From the BBC. Ukraine mobile network Kyivstar hit by cyber attack. Customers have been left without phone or internet access while one city's air raid sirens stopped working. Kyivstar's chief executive implied Russia could be responsible. Let's see here. Kyivstar network is estimated to have 24 million mobile customers and a million home internet users. Reports emerged on Tuesday morning that people and businesses had lost mobile and internet signal. Excuse me. Military authorities in the area announced they would send out police and emergency vehicles to alert residents of any incoming missile or drone strikes. Because, of course, they have a whole ass war going on. Ukraine's largest bank, private bank, said some cash machines were not working and might be unstable or have no connection. An investigation has been opened by the Security Service of Ukraine, or the SBU. Let's see here. Also, I believe that, Ukraine's military intelligence claimed to have carried out a cyber attack on Russia's federal tax system in recent days. During the special operation, military intelligence of Ukraine managed to break into one of the well-protected key central servers of the Federal Tax Service, read a statement on Telegram. It said Russian efforts to restore services were now into their fourth day. So a little bit of cyber warfare back and forth. Also a bit of a tangent here. Zelensky is in Washington. He either earlier today he talked to military top brass, kind of stating the situation, and then I know he's been I think he's gonna talk to Congress and some shit, trying to more or less appeal for more money, especially before Congress closes out for the end of the year, because right now it's looking like either Israel's not gonna get their money and also Ukraine's not gonna get their money because Congress is not getting it together. Which, I mean, my personal feelings on that by now, probably. That is what it is. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what's going on right now. I figured I'd just sprinkle that in here since we're on the topic of Ukraine. Let's go to the States. Let's go to the BX Borough, from the Independent. A Bronx apartment block was plagued by a Bronx apartment block was plagued by building violations for years. This week, it collapsed. Over 100 people have found themselves unexpectedly homeless after their apartment building in the Bronx partially collapsed. But somewhat miraculously, no one was killed or seriously injured. So right off the bat, that's fucking good news for a situation that, when you read on the face of it, it's very, very grim. We've, talked about scary situations in New York, like with parking garages collapsing and shit like that. So, I was like, oh shit. Something like this, you're immediately thinking the worst. But good to know that, after a thorough search, it seems like everyone's accounted for and no one is buried in the rubble. So that's dope. The building, which contains roughly 4 dozen apartments, was having facade work done as recently as a few days ago. Then on Monday, a whole corner of the building collapsed out of nowhere, exposing apartments and creating a massive pile of debris on the street below. No cause has yet been given by officials for the collapse, but records show that the almost 100-year-old building has been subject to a multitude of complaints and violations over the years, many of which are still open. At around 3:30 p.m. on Monday, a 7-story residential building at 1915 Billingsley Terrace in the Bronx partially collapsed, bringing down the walls of several apartments and exposing their interiors. let's see here. I believe that the building was like made in like 1972 or some shit. It's a very old building. And the way that the building is in terms of age and structure, it falls under a facade law in New York. So most of what they were addressing in these fixes were related to that. Which they were saying like, oh, well, that's not necessarily structurally related, but at the same time, it seems like describing what kind of went on. It does seem like it's important. I'm sorry, it was 1927. I said 1972. Got a little dyslexic there. Yeah, the building was built in 1927 and is 7 stories, which means it falls under the jurisdiction of facade law in New York City. Let's see here. There have also been 7 violations of the building, but no structural violations. Instead, the violations were to do with the sidewalk shed and proper lighting, amongst other things. So when I read that, I go, that doesn't sound like something that's going to bring down a building, especially the way you see it in the pictures. So I read a little bit further here. In a summons obtained by NBC New York, the building's owners were warned by an inspector as recently as the 3rd of November that they were concerned with the deteriorated and broken mud sills on the sidewalk shed. One vertical member that was missing a mud sill could compromise the structural stability, causing a potential collapse, the inspector warned. So that sounds bad. That sounds like more than some like improper lighting and bad sidewalk action. In 2020, an inspection also found cracked bricks and loose mortar on the building's facade, deeming it unsafe, according to New York's buildings department records. Then apparently, let's see, Mr. Otto confirmed that work was being done to the facade of the building as recently as a few days ago, but said that no one was believed to be working on the building on Monday. At a press conference, officials were asked about claims that someone was seen drilling into the facade on the side of the building, which then cracked and then a few seconds later started to give way, which that sounds a little sussy. Doesn't sound too good. Maybe that's maybe part of the cause. Who knows? But the response from Mr. Otto, can't tell you much more. Certainly can't speak to what the drilling is. Don't know what's it about. Again, we are taking a look at the drawings that they submitted as part of the permit, and I want to be clear. Unsafe facade conditions are not the same as an unsafe building. But at the same time, I feel like this isn't safe. It doesn't seem like it was safe. But I don't know. I'm not a construction guy. Also, that was Department of Buildings Commissioner James Otto. I guess I should, do proper diligence on that part. My bad. But I believe I think about 100 tenants, 100 residents, they are without a house and, weeks before Christmas time and the fucking winter, where temperatures are not, accommodating right now. I think essentially New York has given them warming buses so that they can have some place to get warm and stay warm. But that's not much of a comfort. You know what I mean? And I was very curious, what is, I just Googled, what is the average rent in Bronx right now, Bronx, New York? With the average rent being $1,557. So imagine just being in a situation. It's not like you can go, oh, okay, especially if you have a family. It's not just you. This is a very, very fucking bad, grim situation. So, obviously at the start, that's why I wanted to say, hey, it's super good that no one died. And that's awesome. That's super great news. But in this kind of situation, it's like, well, what are we going to do here? What is my family going to do right now? You know what I mean? If you don't have, some kind of support system right now, this could be very, very hard for you. So, definitely my condolences, go out to the families and people involved in that right now. Hopefully they can make it happen. You know what I mean? Because Lord knows that shit is not an easy situation to get out of. But yeah, let's go ahead and move along. I feel like I've said enough there. We have one more thing to cover. I ain't gonna play no games with you, but we gotta talk about a gaming company. At least toy games and other sort of things, tabletops of that nature. But let me take my last break, and then we will get into it. We can roll the dice. Ooh. Holy Nelly. You had to wash that down. Excuse me. Whew. Okay. Let's rally. Dig deep. From CNN Business. Hasbro laying off 1,100 employees. Hasbro is slashing nearly 20% of his workforce amid an ongoing slump in toy sales. Hasbro CEO Chris Cox, which I'm allowed to make fun of this motherfucker's name because he's a shitty shitbag CEO, and your name's fucking Chris Cox. What the fuck? Dumb. Anyway, announced layoffs for 1,100 workers in a Monday memo to employees. Cuts which come in addition to the roughly 800 jobs eliminated earlier this year. Cox said the decision to reduce Hasbro's workforce was made in light of market headwinds proving to be stronger and more persistent than planned. We anticipated the first 3 quarters to be challenging, particularly in toys, where the market is coming off historic pandemic-driven highs, Cox said. I can't help myself. While we have made some important progress across our organization, the headwinds we saw through the first 9 months of the year have continued into the holiday, and are likely to persist into 2024. AKA, we made a bad fucking call, like a lot of companies did in the middle of pandemic when they were just making historic fucking highs on their fucking product. And they said, oh, well, we'll just keep trying to crank at this level because people are going to keep wanting this shit despite the fact that they're able to go back outside and able to do other things now. And of course, the market was not accommodating to them and they fucked up. And they're trying to make up for that. I mean, honestly, like we just covered fucking Spotify recently, and this just sounds so fucking familiar, even though we're talking different commodities. It is a company where the people at the higher ups want to say, you know what? We're practically printing money right now. And I know those fucking piggy little CEOs are going to be or shareholders are going to be so fucking happy. And for me, the CEO guy, we're going to make good bonus money. Yeah, yummy, yummy, yummy. Because this motherfucker still made up like so much fucking money. I should have fucking looked up his fucking money. I can probably Google it real quick. It gives me a excuse to say his name again. Chris Cox. Yeah. Someone's already hit me up on the recents. $9.44 million, bro. What the fuck, man? So yeah, I mean, he's doing well. He didn't lose his fucking job. He's fine. But let me get back to the fucking article here. Some Hasbro employees will find out whether their job has been eliminated this week, while the rest of the layoffs will happen over the next 6 months. And that to me is like the grimmest fucking thing, because you're going through this in multiple ways. You probably already thought you fucking beat it earlier in the year when 800 people are gone. Whew, we made it. Awesome. Cool. That's great. Now you're saying not 1 but 2 waves are going to happen in which this 1,100 amount of people are going to be cut. That's crazy. Let's see here. Hasbro, known for making toys such as Transformers and Play-Doh and games like Magic the Gathering, which, that's a big one for me. That's a big ringer. And Dungeons and Dragons, very important, very key, had 6,300 employees prior to layoffs, according to the websites. Also, unlike the Spotify situation, this move didn't exactly spark joy. The stock market didn't exactly find this good. And the stocks or shares fell. Now, something I'm pretty sure I didn't report about Hasbro that I picked up because I keep my ear to this because I love Magic the Gathering. So naturally, I kind of am like, well, what is Hasbro doing? Ever since Hasbro has gotten their grubby little mitts on, Wizard of the Coast, yeah, it hasn't been good in a lot of ways. It's pushed it to definitely make more money. Granted, I mean, I think that's what Watsy, was trying to go for anyway, and I think this sadly was like a match made in hell in a lot of ways, and this is where we find ourselves. But they've made bad decisions with this company, so bad that even like banks are like, you guys are making too much of your product. You're oversaturating yourself. This is a very bad move. And like Watsy goes, okay, or Watsy Hasbro in the situation, because they're the ones being talked to here. Like, oh, okay, well, it's working though. It's making us money in the short term, so we like that. Because essentially, like I said at the beginning of this, they want to make as much money as possible. They see themselves riding this fucking magic carpet, and they just want to stay in the fucking air. That's all they want. And eventually, though, this is going to fall off. And now they're kind of seeing the writing on the fucking wall, and they're like, well, we got to cut bait. But cutting bait is people's jobs. You know what I mean? And that's obviously very fucked up. That's very fucking sad. Once again, referencing the Christmas time, the fucking holiday season. It's the worst fucking time to lose your fucking job. You know what I mean? Goddamn. I know you're probably getting a fucking severance or whatever, but that's scary fucking shit, man. And that sucks. And it also sucks to know that, like, the axe is hanging over the head of the other half of the people in this conversation. You know what I mean? So, it is fuck Hasbro in this fucking shit. You know what I mean? Boo this company. Tomatoes for the whole corp. Cause yeah, do better. Fucking, it is your job to guide and lead in a way that does net money. Sure, that's what you want to fucking do. Profit is the motive. But like that you also are doing things that are facilitating the protection and growth of your company and, the people in it so that they can have a life and, a long-term career there. That's what everyone should have. I feel like, what the fuck? All right, that's really all I have. Let me go ahead and call it an episode. If you'd like to support the effort, I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Isaiah News. You become a newsie, and I shout you out at the top of the month. Plug a project if you'd like. Free ways to hit me up, isaiahnews1@gmail.com, and then I'm on all the socials. Find me, find the podcast, say what's up, say hello. Get rowdy in the comments if you'd like. That helps out a lot. Hopefully subscribe to the YouTube, hit that thumbs up, hit that bell on whatever you're listening on so you can keep up with me, keep up with what I'm doing. This is like a daily effort. I do this all the time. All right. That's all I have. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks so much for being a friend. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.